Welcome to the Ananda podcast. I'm Sammy.
And I'm Dylan. If you are on a journey to becoming the best version of yourself,
and you want to create a life beyond your wildest dreams, you're in the right place.
Let's dive in.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ananda podcast. We're so excited to welcome our guest, Zara Arshad, to the podcast. Zara is a registered therapist and founder of My Ottawa Therapist, and many of you may also follow her as the Couples Coach on Instagram.
Couples Couch.
Oh, the Couples Couch.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Okay, the Couples Couch. I love that. You'll have to tell us more about that. She's also the author of Stronger Together, a couple's guide to navigating your relationship after baby, which I feel like everybody needs, which focuses on helping couples stay connected through one of the biggest transitions in their lives. Zara's work is rooted in the belief that problems don't live inside people, they live inside relationships. Love that. She helps couples and individuals understand their patterns, improve communication, and build safer, more secure connections with each other and themselves. We love her approach because it's practical, compassionate, and real, especially for couples navigating stress, parenthood, and business and everyday life. So we have a million things to talk about with you.
This was fun. I was excited when I read this. You know, we're filming a bit ahead of time, so I was like, Valentine's Day? Is it that soon? And like, this is going to be good when I started reading over like the show notes. So I'm really excited to chat about this.
Thank you. Thanks
yeah.
for having me here. By the way, that was a really nice introduction. I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's all Sasha. Yeah. No, good. We're so pumped to have you here.
Pretty good read there. Like, I can't read and talk at the same time, so
I'm
that's why you
bumped
do
up.
it.
Okay, so like number one, the Couples Couch. Start there. How's that? How did you come up with that, and what's kind of the intention?
Yeah, so I joined Instagram just very recently, maybe about 5 years ago, and you have to find a name that, you know, hits the keywords and all of that you have to do. A lot of the names were already taken. I wanted to do something related to the therapist, but it actually reads the rapist.
Oh, wow.
If you read it in a different way.
And it's when it's all tied together with one word.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe not that one.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went with Couples Couch because, you know, there is usually a couch in front of me where a couple is sitting. And so that just sounded like a fun little way to, name it.
I love that. How did you first get into wanting to be a therapist and, you know, start supporting? Like, how did you also get into the niche of couples, and especially after baby?
Yeah, so it starts off as a bit of a cliche where, you know, I grew up wanting to help people. My parents are divorced. I'm the youngest of 5, and my family faced a very difficult time. And I remember even as a kid, I just always used to I wish there is someone who could help us. I just wish somebody could help us get through this time. And, you know, my mom was a single mom raising 5 kids, all of that.
Wow.
And so, I just always wished that. But as a kid, I didn't have a name to that. What is that called? Who is that person that helps you, right? And then as I grew older, I learned about the field of psychology and psychologists. And I took AP, like college level psychology in high school. And it was instantly, I just knew this is it.
Oh,
this is my field. I connected so well with it. It just made so much sense. And now I had a name. Okay, so it's called psychologist or a therapist, or, you know. So initially it was just, I want to help people. And that was just the general desire. And then, you know, as I was a student and I was advancing in the field, I did a major in psychology in college, trying to figure out what is it that I really want to do when I was choosing my master's program. And I just gravitated towards marriage and family therapy, because relationships, and it just reminded me of that little girl who just wished somebody was there to help my family navigate through all the tough times. And so gravitated towards marriage and family therapy. I did that in the States, graduated with that. And then I moved to Canada. I'm originally from the States. So then I moved to Canada. Here I was practicing as a therapist, working with individuals, couples, families. I wasn't in a particular niche. And then I had my own baby in 2017. And I had a really rough postpartum time, as many moms do. And it just opened my eyes up to realizing that I didn't have the support I needed. I didn't know what I was doing. It was so tough. It was awful. I keep saying the recovery after birth is so much more difficult than the labor and delivery. It was just the physically, mentally, emotionally, the breastfeeding, the sleep deprivation, the crying baby, changing the diet, just not knowing what's going on.
And all the hormones play a huge part.
Everything was just such a mess. And then in all of that, you and your husband are not getting along. And who you think is going to be your safe space, your biggest support, they're trying, but they're not able to help you in the way that you need it. And you also don't know what it is that you need.
Yeah.
You're so overwhelmed with everything, right? So I had a difficult first few months. Things settled down. Everything was okay. And then round 2, I had my daughter. Same thing. I just threw my marriage again into a really difficult spot. And that's when I realized, I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one going through this. I started doing some research. I actually created a survey, which I pushed out to couples in Ottawa. And I got a lot of feedback that kind of confirmed what I was thinking, that, we've got a lot of physical support for moms. You've got the prenatal care, like prenatal yoga and labor and delivery class and chiropractor and, physiotherapy. And then, of course, your OBGYN, all of that is there. And then afterwards, you have the postnatal yoga, the mommy and baby class, and, again, physiotherapy and all of that. But what about the mental health aspect? Nobody really talks about that. Nobody really prepares you for that. Nobody prepares you for what your relationship is going to have to withstand after you give birth. So that's the gap that I noticed was there, and I wanted to bridge that gap. And so this is how I fell into this work of doing postpartum couples therapy and supporting couples who have young families.
It really is one of the most needed things in our modern societies, because I think that when you look at how many people get divorced nowadays, I think a lot of the root issues that causes people to eventually get divorced kind of stems from this period of like postpartum, kids, like in the process of bringing forth life, there's a death of the old self, of the old life that you were going through, the old relationship you had with your partner. And God, do we know that experience?
Yeah,
and so it's
I almost started crying as you're saying that, all of that, because I'm like 100%. And I know all my friends that are moms all have gone through the same thing. And all these moms around the world and couples around the world are just lost going through this, like the most important transition or the most impactful transition, and one of the most challenging transitions as well. Just like, a ship with no sail kind of thing. So I think it's really incredible that you got to this on this journey.
Well, and also, I think that societies in general in the Western world, like for the past 100 years, it's been so focused on physical well-being outcomes. Mental health was never really talked about until recently. It's like you look at, maybe your grandparents or your parents even, and it's like a lot of the older generations, they had no concept you could work on your psychology. The person that you were is the person that you will always be. That was the paradigm. And now what we have is millions of people who are becoming aware that we're not psychologically perfect beings. And there's not enough resources out there to help people feel better within. That's the next frontier, is psychological well-being. So I think, we haven't even gotten into any of this, but it's like, this is it. This is so important. If people can start to make progress in this area as well, I think in so many aspects of society, it's going to change.
Yeah. And for me, I just think about, the foundation is for a child. The adults that were all in society, we were once kids, right? We were once babies being raised in a household. So for me, I work with couples, but I'm always honest about this, I actually really care about the kids that they're raising, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, how can I help these sweet, innocent babies have the best foundation that they're being raised in. And so that's where, for me, it's more like preventative care. Like, how can I help this couple build a strong partnership so that the kids don't have to, be hit with the impact of a partnership that's struggling. And so that's where I come from in this, is how can I help these children
that's so
that we bring
beautiful.
into the world by helping the couple who's going to raise them.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
So good. So what do you find in your practice, like, is some of the most common things that you're seeing time after time that maybe a lot of people listening have thought, oh, I'm going through this and this is unique to me. They don't know that it's so common.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you find the patterns?
Yeah, so many different ones, but I guess the common ones that stand out is, couples do struggle to manage their conflict. Conflict does tend to increase after having a child or more kids, not because the kid, but because there were already cracks in your foundation that you probably didn't realize or pay as much attention to, and you just had the kid, then you had the next one, and then as you grow your family, the weight on those cracks builds, right? Pressures, and then those gaps widen, essentially. And so that's where everything that seemed manageable before, say something used to irritate you or upset you about your partner, and you could just manage it, let it roll off your back, now you can't. But it was always there. The kid didn't make it happen. It was always there. It just, now you feel the weight, the pressure of that building, right? So it managing conflict gets worse. Couples usually don't have the tools to manage it well, or the tools that they once had. Builds, intimacy suffers, right? Your connection starts to fade. So all of that starts to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we could like briefly talk about our experiences as parents, and we got pregnant unexpectedly. She gets pregnant and now she's puking how many times a day?
Well,
right?
I had that condition where you puke for 9 months. Oh. So I was just like puking and nauseous for 9 months.
Yeah.
And even after giving birth, I was still pretty nauseous for a long time, like, and just not normal.
Yeah.
And so like that really, really, really took a big hit on our intimacy because, even at the very beginning of my first pregnancy, I remember he would like make me a special meal and bring it down. And he would walk into the room and I would literally smell it and I would start gagging. Be like, get it out, get it out. But like, thank you, but I love you, but get it out. Like, I can't smell that. And it's so hard for the men to understand what the woman's body goes through during pregnancy as well.
Well, and a lot of men too, like their love language is physical touch, right? So when the intimacy is gone, it's almost like it's how men connect, right? Like women typically connect a lot of times through, and I don't want to generalize, but a lot of times through like verbal connection,
or
right? Emotional connection, right? Men, a lot of times it's physical. So what I've noticed is from our own experience was like, as the man, you're used to being her whole world.
Yeah.
Right. Like you are the center of her attention. Like she loves you. You're like the man. Right. And it's like, then when the baby comes, suddenly you're not that anymore. The baby physiologically, biologically becomes the most important thing in her life.
Right.
So men already kind of have to psychologically deal with that. And a lot of times, it's like you can handle it, but what comes with that is like almost no intimacy. Right. So now it's like, you're not connecting. You've already, in the man's mind, been replaced, and it's like you feel like you've been almost alienated from the family. And for a lot of men, they, at least in a traditional household, like maybe the woman's at home and the man's working, and he feels like, well, I'm providing, for the family, and like I get no thanks, I get no love, I get no connection. She doesn't even care about me anymore. It's all about the kids. And what I've noticed from like a lot of my male friends is like what starts to happen is they start to build up this resentment. And it starts coming out as like snide remarks, right? Or like you're with friends and it's like, oh yeah, well she doesn't do that, or like she did, this. And it's like these little comments, and it's like these little bits of resentment that sort of come out and start to build these bigger cracks, expand the cracks in the foundation. And over time, that resentment builds silently if it's not communicated properly, until you get to this final breaking point where it's like there's no connection left. There's so much resentment built up. People are just like, this just isn't working, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, what kind of tips would you give couples that are maybe in the beginning of that, or even like in the point where it's like, This is not, we don't have this anymore. And maybe they don't realize it's just been this like slowly developing thing. What is the first thing that you would do with a client?
Yeah, I mean, right away, I would say seek professional support because, I mean, we don't have the tools to navigate this time. When we chose our partner and we're with our partner, you're romantic partners, right? That's how you know each other. That's how you relate to each other. Overnight, you're now mom and dad, okay? You don't, for the first time, you don't know how to be a dad. You don't know how to be a mom. So you're stepping into that new role. So now you have to also relate to each other as mom and dad. That's different than romantic partners. And then you have to relate to each other as co-parents. When you enter this relationship, again, you entered as romantic partners, not as co-parents. You don't know your chosen partner, how they're going to be like as a dad or as a co-parent. That's a whole different relationship, right? So the relationship suddenly becomes so multidimensional overnight without any tools or heads up or warning, like, hey, this is going to happen and this is what, and that's the gap I hope to bridge, right? That right along labor and delivery class, we also offer a class on, preparing your relationship for what's to come, not to scare couples, but to just give them the tools and give them the confidence and know-how that this is what's going to happen. It's normal. You got this. And if you don't, here's professional support.
Right.
Love that.
So I would say don't let yourself drown in that. If you notice that things are changing, things are shifting, get help sooner rather than later, because the longer you wait, the more damage is done. The more damage is done, the more difficult it is to come back, right? So don't wait. Get professional support as early as possible when you start to notice those shifts, which you will. I don't know any couple who doesn't notice some negative shift starting to happen in their relationship after having their first kid or even their second or third.
Well, it's like every stage you're meeting this new version of yourself and you're meeting this new version of your partner, and you have to kind of figure out how to be together again.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense to have, like, so many people need, and or just it would be so much easier to have this like third mediator involved with not only like helping the conversation go in a supportive way, but also providing tools so that when you are not there as the therapist, they know how to have a smoother, more compassionate conflict resolution, conversation, understanding each other, and all of that. So what are some of the tools that you bring to the table? Like, do you talk about love languages with them? Do you talk about like ways to kind of de-escalate their big emotions when they're having conflict? Like, what are some of the main tools that you feel like every person and couple should have?
Yeah, so my approach, I'm primarily an attachment-based therapist.
Okay, cool.
So I tend to do EFT, which is emotionally focused therapy with couples, blended in with psychodynamic work because
What does all that mean? Can you give a Cliff Notes?
Yes. Okay, so I'll explain that. But basically, so, you've got... So I believe change occurs on two levels, right? You've got the surface level change, which is... we have an argument and we don't know how to talk to each other. So I can give you a generic tool. Okay, well, start using I statements.
Right.
That's going to make it go better. Okay, that's a generic tip that you can give to anyone, and it could surface level make a bit of a difference, right? But underneath that argument or whatever that conflict, that pattern is, underneath there is a primary level change that needs to occur. That is where the more meaningful, long-lasting change lives from my belief system. That's how I see it, right? So I could give a couple who comes in, be like, okay, you say it like this, you don't do that, you do this, and you might apply the tip for like a week or 2 or 3. It's not gonna stick because underneath that argument, something entirely different was happening. And it's that I wanna get to with you.
Amen. I love that.
And that is where I want to give you the tools. So that is not generic then. Now it's more tailored to the couple and their unique pattern that's playing out. Now, so that's where a bit of the psychodynamic work kicks in, because a lot of the stuff that's happening underneath, we think it started to happen in the relationship, what we don't realize is actually it pre-exists from elsewhere.
Right.
Oftentimes coming from childhood
Right.
and past relationships, right? So that is the baggage that we don't realize we are bringing into this relationship, and we think that we feel a certain way because our partner makes us feel that way. Actually, no, more often than not, when I've worked with couples, it's you felt that way from the past. It came from somewhere else. That hurt, that pain, that insecurity, that injury, emotional injury came from somewhere else. Your partner, without realizing it, is stepping on that injury. He or she is accidentally triggering it, and they have no idea, because also you have no idea, most likely. That's what's happening, right? So that's the psychodynamic work I do just a little bit to help couples get awareness of really what's underneath their the cycle that's playing out on top, what's underneath that, what are those wounds, what are those emotional needs, where do they come from, help you take ownership of your own wounds so you're not blaming your partner for it, but also calling your partner to step up and recognize that wound and teaching them the tools of how to dance with it, dance around it. That's what you're learning to do, is creating a new song and dance where you're no longer stepping on each other's injury and setting it off. While I would encourage each individual to do the healing also elsewhere, say in individual therapy. So that's the psychodynamic and the EFT work. The emotionally focused therapy is when you go to the primary emotions and not the secondary emotions. Secondary emotions is anger, frustration, irritation, right? What's underneath that? It's usually something a lot deeper, more vulnerable.
Like shame, guilt,
Rejection.
trauma.
Disappointment, resentment, so many words, yeah.
So what are the main, like, what are some of the most common dynamics that you face, and like, how do you help people work through those dynamics?
So what do you mean dynamic?
So like when a couple comes to you, like, what are often the dynamics that they experience, like that they're engaging in with each other, and like, how do you help them walk through it? Like, oh, I see a lot of couples have this issue, and here's how we walk them through
Like,
it.
for example, like, you know, we just had a baby. It's been a couple months. We haven't had any intimate time.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated. I feel like she doesn't want me. I feel like I'm not important anymore. And so I'm, you know, getting angry more often. I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And then she's saying, I just want to feel supported. I just like a dynamic like that. Like that maybe is really, really common.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've heard just even that example a million times from all my friends.
Sure. Yeah. I always go into show me how you interact when it's happening. So when you reach for her, what does she say or what does she do? Okay, so when she says that or does that, what do you say or do? What does she say? I actually make them walk me through it. Like, pretend like it's live, you're in the bedroom, it's happening. Walk me through that on the surface. Whatever a third party could view and say, okay, yeah, this is what happened. And then I go under, peel back those layers. Okay, so when she pulled away or did that, what came up inside of you? What was your internal dialogue? What was that name, that feeling that came up? And when you felt that, then how did you, because we think we are reacting to each other's words, right? Okay, well, she said that and she did that, so that's why I said this. Actually, no. What we're reacting to is how their words or actions made us feel. So it's that feeling that comes up and that narrative that comes up inside of us. We actually react to that, which is why there's always, they say, right, like 3 sides to every story. You're looking at the same exact thing, but 2 people look at it so differently. And that's how you view things. And that's, you know, that your perception is, you know, shaped by your experiences in life and childhood wounds and such, right? So I want to get to those perceptions, those thoughts, those emotions, and help both partners realize that, hey, when he approaches you underneath, he's actually anxious and nervous because he's already anticipating rejection. Know that about him. So when you push him away or say that or do this, know how that is why it hurts him so much, because he already anticipated rejection, came rejection, he feels rejected, and now he's so hurt he's going to say something really mean back to you, right? But It's not because he's angry and he wants to be mean. It's because he's hurt. And then vice versa. When she pushes you away, it's not because she doesn't like you or she doesn't want you. She's feeling so overwhelmed and exhausted inside because of the lack of support or whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, the way you're saying it, I'm like, yep. I've heard it a
So
million times.
it's helping each partner see what they're not hearing and seeing when you're interacting on the surface.
100%. I love that.
Yeah, you know, I know from our personal experience, like we went through, like we had, I don't want to say, because no relationship is perfect, but like for almost our entire relationship, I would say like every one of my needs was fulfilled except for like the intimacy part. And for a man, like that's like pretty high on the list, right? So like that was where most of our issues came from. And I know like what would happen is like you'd have all this tension build up. Like you'd maybe have a moment of conflict because like I felt rejected and she felt like I wasn't, you know, really seeing her. She felt like I just wanted something from her and the kids always were taking from her and I'm trying to take from her. She's feeling drained. I'm having more expectations. I'm feeling rejected. And then it turns into a big fight.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you know, maybe you move on from that and then it happens again. Then it happens again. It just feels like the same thing over and over again. And then you get to a point, I remember like, I don't know how many years ago it was, but we had this one conversation where it was like, I don't know if we can do this anymore, right? You finally get to that breaking point and it's like, I just don't even know if this is ever going to change. And what we actually did was we did a relationship course, like a Tony Robbins relationship course. And it really, really helped us sort of shift. I obviously think if we hadn't met you at the time, probably would have been even more beneficial for us. But
it's very similar because it's all about getting to the root beliefs that are being triggered. And, you know, there was certain things that we learned through that program that was like, you know, number one, always believe that your partner has positive intent. Like your partner is not like, I'm going to say the thing to hurt her the most because I hate her. Like, no, that is not what's happening. Just like you said, it's triggering a wound and they're going into a defensive mode to try and feel like enough, right? Or whatever that is. And so there was like a lot of things in there that really helped us to shift those root wounds and belief systems so that we could be like, okay, we're on the same team. We're not against each other. We are on the same team. We are going through the same thing. And it's going to be a lot easier if we decide to be a team and support each other. Let's communicate about how we each need to be supported. Which maybe comes down to love languages and attachment styles. If you want to talk about either of those at all,
I know we're going totally off the notes, right? We're just like chit chatting, but
no, but that's okay.
No, yeah, like we'd love to hear more about that as well. It's like,
or like whatever things that you feel like are important to bring forward.
Sure.
Yeah, so I would definitely focus on understanding, right, what's happening underneath, because that's where the answer to change lies.
Right.
So we're usually very comfortable and used to communicating from anger, from the place of anger, right? Somehow it seems like a safer emotion to show. We're not used to communicating vulnerably. That's just, a lot of us were just not raised in households where emotions were, you know, expressed or modeled to us in a healthy way, and what vulnerability looks like, or vulnerability was either dismissed or rejected or made fun of or shut down, whatever that is, right? So a lot of us haven't learned how to be vulnerable with ourselves, with each other, right? So to learning how to talk to each other from that place instead of getting angry and saying something mean to hurt your partner back, to be able to go, this hurts. I was really looking forward to spending time with you and I'm feeling rejected right now. It would be really tough for your partner to not respond to that in a different way than your mean remark, right? So developing the courage and the practice to speak more vulnerably with each other. What does that look like? What does that sound like? People don't know that. So many people don't know that.
Nobody's been modeled it.
I mean, like even you just saying that one sentence, it's like, wow, that is so simple. Imagine if everyone had that in their toolbox.
And it's the truth. It's the truth, but we are never modeled it. Like growing up, the parents just throw something across the room or yell at each other, and it's like, that's what you see. And it's programmed into you. So when you're in fight or flight, like you're not bringing your conscious awareness and your presence into the situation. You're in fight or flight. You're in like survive or die. Yeah. And so people react in anger, right?
And it's me against you, right?
Yeah.
It's a me against you. It's I'm speaking from my wound and my need, and the partner speaking from their wound and their need, and it's just a conflict of wounds and needs.
How do you de-escalate that and get them to have that vulnerable connection?
So a lot of it is teaching.
Yeah.
Teaching, literally, like communication 101. I literally have to teach that to couples. And for, you know, and I can see the awkwardness, the discomfort. Make eye contact. Husband and wife who have multiple kids can't make eye contact.
Wow.
That's really telling.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? They can make eye contact when they're cracking a joke or sharing something funny or just some neutral event, but tell her that you feel like you're not enough for her, can't make eye contact. That's really telling, right? So it's literally getting you in the habit, getting you used to that body language, that facial expression, bringing awareness that, do you know you look like this and sound like this when you say that? Because people don't realize that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our minds are very good at scanning for threat because they're built fundamentally. Our brain is built on survival, right? That's its primary function from our ancestors. Hunter, gatherer, you survive. That's what you do every day. So primarily our brains still function that way, and our brains are very good for looking for threat, especially if you tend to have a more anxious type of brain, right? Or you're anxiously attached. You're even better at looking for threat or scanning for what feels like threat. So even body language and facial cues before you even say the word, or you could say the absolute correct set of words put together and it could still land so wrong if your facial cues and your body language did not align with that, because the brain picked up on that and that feels like a threat.
So
Wow.
true. Yeah, you know, I know from our own personal experience, like the process that I had to go through was like for years I was trying to change her. Like that was my thing. It's like, well, if I need to get my needs filled. I need to get my needs filled, so I need to try to change her. So I'm going to bring up the same thing over and over again to try to change her. Never worked. Eventually,
Well, and that made me feel like, I'm never going to be enough because you keep bringing up the same thing, and every time I try, it feels like you still bring it up. So then I feel like you're not even seeing that I'm trying. And I'm trying to change. And so then it's like, then that makes me feel like, oh, well, I'm still not enough. So why would I try?
Right.
So that was kind of
different personalities. Cause like for me, if she tells me to do something, unless it's not putting the cast iron skillet in the dishwasher, which I never do, I'm pretty much like, all right, I'll do that. Like any feedback, like I just take it as like A plus B equals C.
Okay.
So like, that's my communication style. Right. So like if she would tell me to do something, okay, I'll change. Whereas if I would say something,
okay. No, you're not that perfect. Okay.
Okay. But what I eventually came to in regards to this, which is what a lot of couples deal with, right? Was I realized I had to change myself. You know, like I had these needs and I had these wounds from past relationships and this sense of like never being enough, this fear of rejection, right? Because I had been in situations where I was like the second choice, or I had been cheated on, or I was I didn't have the self-love, right? So what I started doing is I started cultivating more self-love and stopped needing her to fill my needs, but finding ways to like fill my own internal needs of, because like when men say that like their love language is physical affection, yes, but like you have deeper emotional needs and you're kind of filling those emotional needs through the physical connection. So I had to start going through this process of filling my emotional needs, helping myself feel seen, loved, appreciated, whole, right? And when I started doing that, there was less pressure, right? The killer of intimacy is pressure and expectation, especially for women,
For sure.
right? So when I started to take that down, and at the same time, I'm gaining more confidence because I'm changing myself as a person, I'm finding more self-love, then I suddenly start becoming more magnetic towards her. And then
because when your partner is always like showing this like, I need this from you to be happy, and you're not giving it to me, especially when you're a mom and you have new babies and your hormones are crazy, you're just like, everybody needs something from me and I can't even fill my cup. So then you resist it even more because you're like, you need to take care of yourself because I don't have the energy. I'm drained. I need to fill my cup, right? And so, but then when your partner shows up and they're confident and they're supportive and they're like, how can I help you? What do you need? I want to help you fill your needs. I want to help you fill your cup. I don't need anything from you. And then they're, working on themselves and working on their mindset. now all of a sudden they're so attractive again. You're like, hey, come here. Where have you been? You know?
Yeah.
And so it's so funny that is kind of the dynamic that we experienced was just when you're coming from like this lack place, demanding from your partner, whatever that may be, it creates this disconnection. But when you're coming from this place of wholeness toward your partner and you're trying to give, it creates this magnetic connection. Yeah. What would you say for that? Like turning well, and also actually I wanted to go back to what you were talking about, the intimacy with pressure. Is that something that comes up a lot?
Yeah.
And how do you shift that for couples? Like, it's so hard after kids finding your routine
and so
again.
Common.
You got kids in the bed, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's nothing sexy. We're not feeling sexy at all.
No.
After kids,
No.
Yeah. So going to the first one, your first question around filling the cup, and obviously when you do your own worth and you build your own sense of, it's developing that learning to relate to yourself in a healthier way, right? When you start to do that, you develop a secure belief system around yourself, and then you show up differently. And so that's wonderful that you were able to recognize that and do that work. That's not the case in every couple, right? In every partnership, it's still like, no, she needs to do this for me. No, he needs to do this. And it's always who's going to go first. And it seems counterintuitive, but my recommendation to that is actually, well, work on filling your own cup, like how you found your ways to do it, but start focusing on filling your partner's cup. Because when you start filling their cup, they will start filling yours. It does start to work that way. So instead of getting into a tussle about, no, she needs to go first, no, he needs to go first,
just go first.
You do your part.
Yeah.
You do your part. Start filling his or her cup, because when her or his cup starts to fill, they're going to have the capacity to then start understanding and meeting your needs. So counterintuitive, but that is one recommendation. Again, generic. I would need to know the couple to really get into their dynamics, but that's, a generic recommendation there. In terms of intimacy, I mean, it's so common for intimacy to take a hit after baby. And with that, that's usually a whole different topic we're working on in sessions, but it ends up connecting so much to everything else, the communication, the conflict, the emotional connection, all of that. But one thing I really want couples to understand when we're doing this work is men and women are wired differently biologically. We absolutely are. There's no denying that. And we have to be able to acknowledge that and accept that, right? That men are wired differently, women are wired differently. I think a lot of times men think their love language is physical. But I don't know if it necessarily is. For some, it truly is.
Right.
But for a lot, it's the first thing they say, oh, it's physical. And
how many men say that their love language is physical?
It is, and...
all of us.
Yeah, and yes, for some, it truly could be the case. But the kind of physical the men are talking about, it's coming from that place of, we haven't had sex, I need more sex, right?
Yeah, of course.
So it's that
There's
biological need that is unfulfilled. And so they're thinking my love language is physical affection. Whereas if that biological need was fully fulfilled, perhaps it would be something else, like words of affirmation, quality time, things like that. So I think that's why men end up thinking it's physical affection, because usually they're feeling unfulfilled in that department after kids, right? So to be able to understand and appreciate those differences, and then learn to work with those differences, right? So for example, to be able to know that men generally do speaking, yes, of course, there's outliers, but generally speaking, men do have higher needs when it comes to physical intimacy, right? Greater desire. Women tend to have lower desire. Men tend to have less inhibitions, as in less that stops them from getting there, whereas women have high inhibitions. A lot of things can stop our desire short in its tracks, right? Men have a more spontaneous desire, a touch, a thought, an image. your wife wearing a certain type of outfit, right there, desire can kick in, right?
Yeah.
For women, it's different. A lot more work needs to go in. We're more responsive desire. A lot more needs to happen before our bodies and our minds start feeling that desire, right? So things like that, those are fundamental biological difference that has nothing to do with, oh, because you're this way or you're that way. That is just the case for most women and men, right? So now think about that. So if men tend to be more, women tend to have more inhibitions. Well, okay, before kids, maybe she had a more confident about her body. She used to dress a certain way, had more time to do makeup and hair and do her nails and take showers and spray perfume and all of that. So maybe, yeah, she was good, but now that
She's ready to go.
way more inhibitions,
Yeah.
right? Now you're conscious about your body. There is the physical recovery. There's the breastfeeding. There's the lack of sleep. There's the fact that there's a baby sleeping in the room and a little coo could kill your desire, whereas a man can keep going, right?
Right.
So there's so many things that are just, it is what it is. And why fight about it? Learn to work with it, right?
Yeah.
Let's learn to work with it. So if it takes, so it's learning to recognize what are the inhibitions that come in the way, what are the blocks, right? What are the brakes that stop my desire in its tracks? How can we remove those brakes? And then what are the things that get it going? How do we add that? For some women, it's literally if she could just take a shower, that would be enough for her to get it going. Right? A relaxing shower, for example. Let's implement that into the routine, right? To build intimacy. So things like that. So it's, so I do that kind of work is first really helping the couple understand the biological difference and just the different needs and learning to work with them and work with it together like a team instead of blaming each other and attacking each other and getting upset with each other. Accept the differences and learn to work with them.
I mean, that kills intimacy right away, right? So why would we choose to fight about it?
Well, I know a lot of women, like a lot of men. I'm more emotional, I guess. So like I kind of can put myself in a woman's shoes sometimes. But I know a lot of men, like with testosterone, like women a lot of times don't understand it because like I've actually had really low testosterone and now I'm on TRT, so like it helped me. But I went through that process where like 5 years in, I started getting low T. But so I finally understood women, but like I didn't for a long time. And I was like, wait, you're telling me that you're not just like ready to go at the drop of a hat? Like someone just says the word and like you're ready. It's like once I finally understood that how powerful hormones are in our body, and God knows after kids, like your hormones are never going to be the same again. Never going to be the same again. And so it's like, you know, it's for men need, like a lot of times I feel like men need to slow down and like really bring their emotions into it. Put yourself in the woman's shoes, you know, like dance a little bit, like, you know, emotionally, instead of just be like, hey, you want to, you know, it's like, it has to be like, more of a you have to take it slower, at least from my experience, right? Because I know a lot of guys are just like, oh, they're just not down for it like they used to be. It's like, man, like, come on.
Make it pleasurable for
her.
It's
too. So tough, right?
And how many times can you watch the same movie over and over again?
But it's tough to also, you know, it's tough to step into the woman's shoes though, and vice versa. Because you actually don't know.
You can't.
What is that? What is it to have less testosterone or more?
Right.
I don't know that. Like, I just know what it is to be in my body and what my hormones are and whatever, right? So it's tough. All we can do is learn to talk about it in a way that's respectful and feel safe. And for the other partner, they might not relate, but understand and work with it. Right. So for a lot of women, I think there's a statistic out there. Maybe I'm wrong, but something like women on average need about 20 minutes of foreplay to feel the desire. Right. Whereas men, it's like literally a touch, a look. Right. So things like that, if you know that, you can really start using that to your advantage to rebuild intimacy, while also managing expectations. It's not going to look like how it used to, but it also doesn't mean it will never be that good again. You'll get there. You're just in a season of life.
And it could be even better.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, it could be even better. So just stick it out.
Stick it out.
Oh, I love that. That's so good.
We've been all over the map on this one. It's been kind of.
Is there anything that, like, I know that you talked about, you know, that you really are doing this for the kids, and I love that, like giving them the stable foundation. And, you know, I think for us, like, we always felt like, okay, we love our kids, but we are the foundation of the household. And so we have to make our relationship a priority because we are going to be the example for them. We're going to be the energy that they're in every day, the environment that they're in every day. And so we always like made it a priority that we would do that for them as well.
We're like best friends too. So like I know everybody has different relationships. Like we're around each other 24/7.
Yeah.
So like we have to like each other. You know, we have to get along most of the time.
So I guess like my question is, you know, when we tie this into parenting, like what are some of the biggest things you wish parents, maybe new parents, would know from the very beginning that we don't know because we're not given a handbook of how to do any of this, right?
Yeah, and again, as I was saying earlier, you're learning to be parents for the first time. Even if it's your second or third time around, it's still a different ball game. To be parents to 2 or 3 or 4 is different than to be parents to 1, right? Because now that's a whole different dynamic with multiple kids in the house. So just learning to recognize that 2 people, you know, might have different parenting styles, which you had no idea when you married that person or had the child with that person. And it's you know, bringing awareness to that, and also knowing that all of that comes so much from our values and how we were raised and how we see the world and things like that. And so again, like it's just a lot of it, just if you don't know what you're doing, seek professional support to help you figure those things out, you know, the different parenting styles. Because often what we get into is, again, the I versus you mentality. My way is the right way. Right? It's my way or the highway. My way is the right way. Your way is the wrong way. No way. Nobody's way is the right way or the wrong way. It's just what it is for them. Right?
Yeah.
It's right for them. But now you have to learn to work together as co-parents. Well, this is what's right for me, and this is what's right for me, and we're raising these kids together. We have to work with each other to find some sort of middle ground, and you know, have more of a team mentality instead of I versus you. There needs to be an air of respect in those conversations, right? And not like devaluing someone because they do things differently or didn't do it to the standard that you wanted them to do it. So that, and also there's a, you know, it's different to telling someone what to do and how to do it versus actually the other person being on board with that and doing it because they believe in it too. Those are 2 very different things, which is why in a lot of partnerships there is that frustration of, you know, I have to keep telling him this, I have to keep telling her this, or whatever it is, right? It's because you just told them and they just nodded and went with it, but they didn't buy into it. They're not on board with it. Right? Because there wasn't that actual respectful conversation around, well, how do we believe this situation should be tackled when it comes to the kids, right? Is it holidays or whatever it is, right? Scolding them, not scolding them, spanking them, punishing them, timeouts, meal times, bedtime. How do we navigate all of that when we believe different things? No, you should just do it this way. And one person might be like, okay, sure, I'll do it. They'll do it for a week or 2 and then not really do it, right?
Yeah.
So really coming to an agreement is different than one person just telling the other what to do when it comes to parenting.
Yeah.
We had that this morning, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's our daughter's birthday, and we spoiled them way too much.
Well, and also the grandparents spoiled
Yeah,
too. So it's not just us.
They got all these gifts, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. Like, she's going to be so happy. Of course, she finds the one thing that she's not happy about, runs upstairs, she's crying, she's screaming. And like my reaction is like, oh, if I did that when I was a kid, this is ridiculous. So I'm raising my voice.
Yeah.
What are you doing? This is your birthday. I can't believe how ungrateful you are.
Yeah.
You know, and Samantha, she goes upstairs and she tries to comfort her.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
You know, and so then we have
I'm
this.
like, go away. Leave me alone.
We have a mild conflict, not a big one,
Yeah.
but it's like, you know, situations like that where we're not communicating. She's probably right in the situation.
Well, I
admit
just
that.
said,
But
if it was my birthday and I was 5, just first day of 5,
Yeah.
and I woke up too early and I'm having some big emotions not because she's disappointed in her gifts. It's not like she's like, I hate all this, but you know, I put some little sparkle things in her hair. She's very particular about how things feel. So she's very independent. She wants to do everything by herself. So I don't know exactly what set her off, but she's ran upstairs. She's sitting in my bathroom on the floor crying on her birthday morning. If it was my birthday and I'm 5 and I'm crying and I'm having these big emotions and nobody comes to come and help me calm down or ask what's wrong, how am I going to feel? I'm going to feel like it's my birthday and nobody cares that I'm not happy. Yeah. So I went up and I'm trying to hug her and I'm trying to say, it's okay. What's wrong? Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're going through. You know, it's your birthday today. Why don't we have a great day today? Yeah. And eventually, once she got her emotions out, she just jumped off the counter and hugged me. Yeah. And then we start laughing and smiling and we start telling jokes and
then she was fine.
And then she was fine. Yeah. You know, and so like as much as like I could have gotten annoyed the same way that Dylan did and been like, you're being a little spoiled brat right now and you need to be grateful. I know that she doesn't understand that yet. Yeah. She doesn't have the capacity to feel those emotions for whatever reason. Yeah. We're also like for him, like, and probably a lot of men, their brains are more logical, whereas our brains are more emotional. So like, I can understand that you don't need to have a reason for having this big feeling right now. But I know that what I need to be is this like safe space for you to have it. And then let's work through it. And then once you are regulated, we can talk about it. Right.
That's been the hardest thing about having kids for me is like, for me, it's like problem solution. So when like there's chaos that I can't understand, I react with anger. Yeah. Right? Like it's like, and it's
or frustration.
Frustration. Yeah.
Like it's not like you're just like angry all the time. Like, you get frustrated, you get overwhelmed.
That's very typical.
I'm like, these are very simple things that we are making complicated. This does not make sense. You know?
But that's where your brain is like logic A, Z, problem, solution, whereas their brains are, I mean, you can answer it more than I can. Yeah. Their brains are like emotional,
how do
right?
I, as a dad and a man, how do I like I want to say regulate my emotions in these situations, but it's like, it's so, and I know a lot of dads who are like this. It just doesn't make sense. And so we react with anger or frustration. And it's like, that's really the only emotion men are allowed to have as they grow up. It's like, you can be angry, you can be frustrated, but don't you dare you be vulnerable. Don't you dare have these other emotions. It's like, so we're programmed to have these two emotions. And so it's I have tried so hard to deprogram that. Yeah. I've yet to succeed. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. You know, everything that there's this dynamic is very common. Like I have so many female partners saying, you know, gotta regulate first, gotta connect with the kid, you know, all of that. And the dad's like yelling and getting frustrated. It's very common, you know, for you to do the work of recognizing her big emotions are bringing up something uncomfortable inside of you. You don't know how to respond to that, so you're getting angry because you need to fix it. This needs to go. These big emotions need to go away because I'm not comfortable with it. Whereas your wife is more comfortable with it. Right. So she's able to lean into it. She's not afraid of it. She's not uncomfortable with it. And then she's able to come with it from a place of compassion. Like, okay, what is she going through? And how can I help her meet there, right? Which is wonderful. But what I also heard you say is there's something that's really important to you, and that's teaching your children the value of gratitude.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's wrong with that, right? So it's both of you learning to talk about this, like, hey, it's important for me that when she's feeling big emotions, we teach her how to regulate herself and connect with her before we talk about things. And for you to go, okay, I get that. I'm going to work on that. And it's also really important that we do teach our kids the value of being more grateful 100%. And having more gratitude and money and all of that, right? So now, are we in agreement that both these things matter to us? Because they might not. For one of you, might not matter. So you first have to get an agreement. Yeah, I get it. I get why it matters to help her regulate and work her big emotions because she doesn't have the skills to do it yet. Okay, yeah, and I get gratitude is important or not important.
Which, of course, I'm 100%. That is my belief too. And it's like from there, my intention was like, once she is regulated and calm, then we can talk about the lesson because she can receive it better.
Yeah. But there needs to be a conversation about what happened this morning. Yeah. What normally happens is then we don't have that conversation, right? We've moved on. Conflict avoided, situation de-escalated. We're okay, busy with our lives now. Next 3 days, boom, it's gonna happen again. Right.
And the same pattern's gonna repeat itself.
Same exact thing. She's gonna have a big emotion. You're gonna get frustrated because you need your daughter to you're why not talk about it? Come to an agreement as co-parents.
I love that.
Not as romantic partners, but as co-parents, like a team, right?
Let's do it.
So come to an agreement that, hey, when this happens next time, we need to be able to remember both these things and carry both these things forward. So yeah, I'm not good at regulating. Maybe you do that while I learn to be better at that. But then let's also learn to talk about this with her and teach her this value, right?
Love.
And so yeah, just for you to do that work of learning how to regulate yourself, recognize, remember, anger is the surface emotion. What's underneath? What is the discomfort that you're feeling with her big emotions?
So how have you helped men learn how to regulate their emotions better? Because that is a universal theme within most men that I've come across, especially dads, because that's when it comes out. Children magnify your own unresolved psychology.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I know we're talking just relationships and stuff and parenting, but it's like, what do you do to help men learn how to regulate their emotions better?
Yeah. So slowing it down and learning literally to name what's happening. Because you got so many men have literally no idea how to name an emotion. I don't know. I feel frustrated. I don't know. It just makes me angry.
Right.
Okay, is there a different emotion, right? Like there's just no awareness, right? So I go into, again, okay, you feel angry. Now, what's underneath that anger, right? And then doing that work of helping them recognize that underneath that anger is an insecurity or trigger or something, maybe you have, I'm just going to make this up, but something like this. Maybe you grew up with a wound that feels like I'm not good enough, right? And that gets triggered in your marriage and your parenting as well. This dad could be feeling I'm not good enough because my daughter's not happy and I put in all this effort to buy her these gifts and plan this party, etc. So now I'm thinking, well, no, she needs to be more grateful and this and that and not have big emotions. And yes, it could be that. But also underneath that, you felt like you were a bad dad, like you did not do enough, like she's not happy with you. So you're so uncomfortable with that without even realizing it. And that's why you're angry with her. Because she needs to fix her emotions so I feel better about myself. I'm not saying that that's what it is with you,
so
but that's an
powerful.
example of what it could be. And you need to be able to name that. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm going to practice that next time I'm in one of those situations. I mean, even just pausing and just vulnerably saying, here's what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So slowing it down. Wait, what just happened? She's screaming and crying. I'm feeling angry. Why is that making me angry? Because I put in all this effort. Okay, so if I put in all this effort, why does that upset me that she's not happy? Well, because if I put in all this effort and then she's still not happy, it means I failed as a dad. I didn't do a good enough job. So really, am I angry that she's crying or am I angry that I'm not a good dad? And her tears are reminding me of that. Right? So it's really pulling back and slowing it down and naming all of that, which is not, it's easier said than done.
Yeah. And then when you release it, you're so much freer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's where then you're able to regulate because now you know what to regulate. And then obviously sometimes we do need to regulate the anger before we're able to do that work internally.
Yeah.
So then I would teach, somebody those self-regulation tools. Let's bring the anger down so our thinking brain can kick in and then we can see what's happening really.
I think that's
Beautiful.
a really good takeaway too, is like anytime that anyone, a kid or a couple is in like this heightened state of emotion, you're not in your thinking brain as you said it. So like how can you really resolve a conflict when you're just in this like reactive emotional state? And that's like why, like, and I'm not a pro, but that's from the things I've listened to about parenting and all that is like, which is probably why women are more, number one, we're used to feeling big emotions. We're used to having our cycle going, having all these different feelings and emotions. But yeah, it's like, okay, well, I know that she's not, if I just yell at her the lesson, you should be grateful. It's not going to click.
She's not going to receive
If
it.
I create connection first and she knows I'm a safe place for her to feel those emotions and also become calm. Now can we have that conversation? And every time I've done that, which is not all the time, I react too, sometimes,
We
of course.
usually balance each other's out. When one of us is freaking out, the other one's calm.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect.
Which is
Totally
good.
how it
Yeah.
works.
That's being a good
but-
team, right?
But I do like the idea of like having this conversation of like
So important.
understanding together this is our new system of parenting of like, you know, first we lower the reaction and regulate, and then we create the lesson when we're in a connected state.
Yeah. And it's like, and I know we probably have to wrap up here in a second, but it's like, you know, it's so powerful. Just that process of learning how to not be afraid of emotions. Like when you have a foundational feeling that you can handle and regulate and work through any emotion that comes up, it's like, how many avoidance decisions do we make in our life because we're afraid of rejection, we're afraid of failure, we're afraid of a million different things. And it's like, if we can overcome that fear, if we have the belief that we can take any situation we face and we can work through it, it's like that opens up an entirely new avenue for our life.
Yeah. And think about the resiliency.
Yeah.
That's how we build resiliency. That's where we don't need to turn to, you know, unhealthy coping mechanisms, substances, behaviors, whatever it is. Then we're just so much more resilient. And then we teach our kids. We teach them by modeling it.
That's the best form of teaching, isn't it?
Yeah. Love. So good.
This is great. We're gonna have to have you back on.
We have a couple like closing questions. Number one, because it's Valentine's Day time, what do you wish couples would focus on for Valentine's Day?
So I would say, I mean, we're talking about couples with kids, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. So I would say I think couples get caught up in the grand gestures or expecting grand gestures, and which is great, which is lovely, do it. But don't forget that if you are not feeling emotionally connected or safe or satisfied in your partnership, that grand gesture is momentary, whatever you want to call it, happiness, right?
Yeah.
It's just nice for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half a day. That's not what's going to bridge the gap between the two of you. So if there's so go ahead, do those grand gestures, but also, look at the stuff that's maybe pulling the two of you apart and work to bridge that gap. And that's not done with grand gestures. That's just done with meaningful work that literally happens in very small, mundane acts every single day.
Love that. That's so good. Okay, so these are our closing questions. Ananda is the Sanskrit word for bliss. So our whole mission is follow your bliss. So in the past, is there a moment that you wish you would have followed your bliss more?
I can't think of a moment, but I would say generally speaking, and probably this is true of many women, but being a woman of my culture, of my faith, I think I've just grown up with a lot of things pulling me back and holding me back. And I've been very inhibited, very, afraid of taking a step or making the wrong decision, or am I doing this the right way, or what are people going to think, that type of, and that doesn't bring you internal bliss. Then you're just kind of constantly in a state of discontentment inside. So I would say just generally speaking, I think I've held myself back a lot in life and relationships, and I haven't followed my bliss in that sense. And yeah.
Love that.
So in the present, what does finding your bliss mean to you right now?
Okay. So in the present, I'd say finding bliss would be having clarity and acceptance. So clarity of who I am, what I stand for, what I want in life, what kind of relationships do I want to see. And then also with acceptance, because with the clarity, there can also be some tough realizations, right? Some losses, some grief. And then with acceptance, I think also comes confidence. Confidence and being aligned to who you are, to all the things that matter to you, and being okay with it. Whatever your strengths and limitations are, you just learn to walk with them in life and be confident with that. So yeah, clarity, acceptance, confidence, I would say would be bliss for me now.
Beautiful. And what's next for you? What are you excited about this year? What are you working on that will bring more bliss to your life?
I mean, for me, if I can just learn to strike that balance as a mom, as a wife, as a small business owner, as a sister, as a daughter, as just a person and individual, you know, just my hobbies, my interests, if I can just find a way to balance, because I just find, you know, right now, the phase of life I'm in, without any choice of mine, I have to pour a lot in one cup, and that's my kids. Right? That they just need me. So right now, a lot of my love and attention and compassion and patience and everything, energy is going into the kids. And then it's like whatever drops I can throw here and there, you know, and then you kind of feel unfulfilled and kind of, again, not content and satisfied. So I think for me going forward, I really want to find the bliss through balance of being able to pour a little bit in every cup or many cups and feeling satisfied that, you know, I did travel and I did engage in this hobby, and me and my husband worked on these things together, and I've been really rocking the parenting game, and I'm moving forward in my career, and everything feels like it's getting my adequate attention and love and energy, finding that balance, which I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get there more.
That's a really good
that.
intention. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. This was an awesome conversation. We really enjoyed it. Where can people find you if they want to, you know, follow you, get in contact, anything like that?
Yeah. So one way is my website, which is www.myottawatherapist.com. So you can find me there and contact me, book a session. If you're in Ontario, I can take you on as a client. You can find me on Instagram at The Couples Couch. That's where I post a lot of like guidance and tips and just insights on relationship support. I have my book, Stronger Together, A Couple's Guide to Navigating Your Relationship After Kids. You can find that on Amazon. There's the ebook, then there's the audio, and then the hard copy. And then, yeah, just I also offer workshops, courses, things like that. So I've been working on a course that I'm creating for couples to improve their communication after kids, which I'm super excited about. So things like that I announce on my Instagram, and yeah.
I just have to say, you're rocking it. So you should be really proud of
Thank
yourself.
you so much.
You can tell how much passion you bring to it and how much
work you've done on yourself.
Yeah. So really awesome job as a powerhouse mom and business owner and doing all the things.
Thank
really
you so
great
much.
job.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed every minute of talking with the both of you.
Same. All right, guys. See you next time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. If this episode inspired you or made you think of someone, please send it their way. We would love for it to help them too, and it really helps the podcast. Follow along at Ananda Elixirs on social media. We can't wait to connect with you.